The old timeline's rigidity is the new timeline's integrity. Now, we as full sakian men on this channel, and there are a few women here and there that are, peering into the glimpse of the full sakian men and what it's like to be a full sakian man, because it's a very astute phenomenon, I would suppose you could say, because we as men with full sex inadvertently become celibate sex symbols. And this is a very strange thing, because we're not even trying to be. Now, some of you may be trying, and that's fine. That's fine, but I'm talking about you're just being who you are, and you're being as you are. Because to notice what it's like to exist as you are is to notice what it's like to be who you are. It's a paradox. It's the same type of thing. And what I've noticed is that when it comes to timeline integration, you could say, where you let go of the old timeline, it's kind of like, and you're moving into a new timeline, it's almost like, think about it in regard to lifting weights. You have to have resistance to build the muscle, right? So you use the resistance in strength training and physical exercise to build the muscle. It's the same type of thing with spirituality. In spirituality, whenever there's resistance, you have to use the resistance as a form to grow the spiritual muscle, which would in this case be the will. Now, if you are not even trying to go with the resistance, you're not even trying to use the resistance to be stronger, then what you're doing is you're actually putting yourself on a timeline that is either, it's like the residue of an old timeline, or it's this newfound quality of no newfound quality. It's just a timeline loop. And to become celibate sex symbols as a full sakian man, where people start to realize, like, it's not even the goal is not to be a sex symbol. I want to be clear with that, because so many people will be trying to negotiate their way into seeing things a certain way because they want to see it their way. I will say that to be a celibate sex symbol is not necessarily something to be proud of. It's not something to be, ashamed of either. It's not really anything to be anything about. It just is. And when you accept this, when you allow yourself to simply be, and you do what you do, you eat healthily, you go to the gym, you take care of yourself, you meditate or you pray or whatever the case may be, you practice what I like to differentiate 3 to 4 different things to do every single day. Number 1 is something physical. Number 2 is something intellectual, like reading or writing. Physical is, working out or going for a walk or sun gazing or something like that, right? And then emotional, which is, some kind of form of acknowledging how I feel today. Just take notice, like checking in with myself. How do I feel? If you do yoga or something, you can do this very simply. I mean, you can do this no matter what you're doing, really, but there are certain things and proclivities that you can do to really emanate more of that expression inside yourself. And then lastly is the creative. Now, the creative faculties that you're going to have from celibacy to begin with are going to be astronomical. But like somebody in a comment recently on one of my videos said that my channel, there seems to be more joy and happiness with my channel compared to other celibate channels or semen retention channels, whatever. And he said that he thinks that the reason why that is because he can see how I'm sexually transmuting I'm transmuting the sexual energy. Sexually transmuting. It's kind of the same thing. Because here's the thing, right? Sexual power creates the soul of existence. So this is what something that I learned from Maharaji, who is Ram Dass's guru from India. And I don't see any way that that's wrong. I don't see any way that that's a wisdom that ought to be shunned or put down or put aside. That seems very accurate to me, actually. And myself, I'm someone that takes wisdom wherever I can get it. I take wisdom and I receive it and I will apply it. Because here's the thing, what a lot of people don't want to do. They want to have all of these things go in as far as knowledge or as far as plans and whatnot. But if you don't try to execute the plan, you're not going to get anywhere anyway. Now, it's great to have a plan. It's great to have a pathway, a direction. But again, if you're not embodying that to some degree, then what are you doing? This is not going to be conducive toward a state of growth. Because what I've noticed is what people who are treating growth as liabilities, people who treat growth as liabilities are the ones who overthink the most. Whereas the ones who really want the growth, they really, and it sucks sometimes, it's a really rough battle. There's resistance. But what makes the person who takes that resistance spiritually and becomes stronger from it is the one who sees growth as an adventure. If you don't see growth as an adventure, then the probability of you actually making true changes is not likely at all. So one of the reasons why celibate sex symbols are who they are and why they are the way that they are is because they treat inner growth as adventures. It's an adventure. You're like Bilbo Baggins. you're like Bilbo Sackins, going out there and with your full sack, and you're having the time of your life. You're gonna go slay some dragons with your full sack, man. You're gonna go slay some fucking dragons, and you're going to let go of the old timeline and not be using the resistance as a sign to stop, but as a sign to okay, there's something to grow here. And that's what makes celibate sex symbols so attractive. What makes you so attractive, if you are truly a celibate sex symbol, because this type of message is not for everybody, okay? It's not for everybody. I'm not speaking to the collective. I am not a man of the people. I'm a man of the individuals. I love individuals. I don't really like groupthink or thought crime. I'm not really about these things. I'm not about these things at all, because that's communism disguised as a form of protection. It's really just, it's like safety. It's like what the government says about safety, right? It's like, oh well, all in the name of safety, the Palantir is just gonna have to, show these drones everywhere. Did you guys see that, by the way? I had somebody in the Regal Academy reach out to me, and this person is in the military, and they told me that there's these surveillance drones that are coming out allegedly, and apparently it's not top secret or anything. It's not confidential, but it's just this is actually happening. And I was like, what the heck? I've never heard of these things before. And apparently these drones are basically highly technological eagles that can fly and see hundreds of feet, thousands of feet away potentially. And it's just the police state is just growing more and more, all in the name of safety. That's the thing about a lot of people. They want to be comfortable. They don't want to hear the truth, or they don't want to live the truth and let die what is false. They want to be comfortable enough to kind of give you some cushion. I've seen this so much recently with people, and I see it as my role to play in the melodrama of this plane of consciousness, let's say. I see it as my role to play to be as present and be as conscious and be as honest in the narrative structure and outside of the narrative structure that I am living in as possible. Because if I'm projecting a narrative into the symbolic narrative field that is not applicable to certain people, then of course don't try to force your way. I've seen this a lot with people too recently. They're trying to force their way into things, and it's like, okay, there's a difference between working with resistance and trying to force something that's not going to work. Like, if you're doing a bicep curl, you can't do a bicep curl going that way, right? That's a tricep extension. But if you do a tricep extension and you go, okay, that tricep extension, the tricep extension is only going to go so far. Okay, if you try to bend your arm that way, you're going to break it. There's a difference between forcing and then using resistance. Same type of thing spiritually and transmuting sexual energy, because that's what it's about. It's about learning how to transmute the sexual energy, not just being celibate because to be celibate. Now look, for a lot of people, it is a great feat for them to even go a week without watching porn or whatever. That's fantastic. My work, however, lies beyond that. I am not a surface level individual, and I do not have messages for people that are just trying to get started on the path. I'm for people that have gone through enough to where they know that, okay, there's certain blind spots that I have in order to make myself more into godlike mastery. And that's what this is about. That's what the Regal Academy is about as well. The reason that I offer these is because I am in competition with the education system. I'm in competition with the government. Not even I'm the one competing with them. They chose this. They chose to fight. And they're going to get a fight that they didn't even know was coming. They chose the wrong one to fuck with. They chose the wrong one. I'm at war with religionists, politicians, and the education system all combined. I didn't want to be. I didn't need to be. But they've chosen this. They've chosen war. So guess what? When you're in a position where you have to go all in, it's just too much, right? When you're in a position where you have to either fight or just completely recover and rest and just submit. I will choose fight every single time because I am committed, I'm devoted to doing whatever's necessary to live the truth and let die what is false. I don't care what the truth is. I just want the truth. I don't care how the truth is presented to me. I just want the truth. I'm not going to judge the messages of certain people because of the way that it's delivered. And I see this so many times with people on YouTube, on Instagram or whatever. X is another big place, because YouTube, I have, in the spirit of the time, and it's not about followers necessarily, but it's about recognizing how people perceive your significance differently when you have a certain amount of followers psychologically. I've met people who have 1,000 followers or even 300 followers or whatever, and they are speaking so much truth and so much game and so much life and vitality, but they're doing it in a way that is not really marketable. Right? It's great, it's fantastic, but it's not marketable. So what does that mean? It's not to say that you should be looking for truths that are marketable. It's just that's what the education system does. That's what the politicians do. That's what religionists do. I have yet to meet a religionist, a politician, or an educationist who is devout to following the rules. Following the rules that say, the book says this. The laws say that. Geeks! You geeks! Life is about so much more than this. We are celibate sex symbols. We are full sakian men ready to go out there like fucking Batman and be the vigilantes that the world needs. And so many people are in here so upset about the way certain things are said. We are so much more than this. We are so much more powerful than this. And that's why I'm at war. I'm showing people how to get rich internally. I'm showing people how to live the truth. I'm showing people how to notice what it's like to be who they are. I'm showing people a new way to revolutionize psychology and spirituality. And that's exactly what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing this whole time. From the very beginning of my YouTube channels and my YouTube videos, because that was the main thing that I was focused on. I thought I was going to get like more traction on Instagram, but it turned out that YouTube is actually much more applicable to the type of niche and the type of thing that I want to do and want to talk about. So what I've perceived in this is that many people, they want to subtly mold the way people are framing certain things, because they want the truth, but they want it in a package that's comfortable. And that's not what the truth is. So like these people that don't have as many subs or whatever, that are speaking a lot of truth, I totally support these people, because those are going to be the people. We are the foot soldiers in the trenches of the full Sakian war. We're waging the full Sakian war. And these bitches out here are not going to know what's coming for them. We are the wrong ones to mess with. Just because we're celibate sex symbols doesn't mean that we're not capable of a fucking fight. So with all that being said, peace be with you. Sign up for my Godlike Mastery offer. If you are ready for something that is transformative, do it. Same thing with the Regal Academy. You have to be the one to walk those steps, but I will show you. I will show you everything that I know. I will do everything that I can to help you just be who you are. Because a lot of us have blind spots, and we know these things. Sometimes it's good to just have support. But you have to want to actually change. You have to actually want it. Because we're in war, whether you want it or not. Now look, I orient myself from timelessness. So when I speak about that, I'm speaking from a place of multiple levels of consciousness simultaneously. Because although I'm oriented from timelessness, I recognize that I as a form, as a human being, am on this plane of consciousness. So let us live the truth and let die what is false. And let's wage some full Sakian war. Peace. Be blessed.